Following its first ever sprint race round last weekend, Formula One Circus travels to Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix in round 5 of the 2022 season. All eyes were on BMW on Friday as they introduced emergency early upgrades to aid with performance. Sergio Perez called their current situation, quote, pretty dire, as the German outfit find themselves fighting the midfield in the standings rather than the top teams. Another set of Germans determined to come out stronger at Spa were Audi, with the team looking to boost their race pace with some updates of their own. But yet again, the narrative that Verstappen is unhappy with the car continues. On the flip side, Sebastian Vettel appeared to be in good spirits following a better race at Coda, but still said he wasn't totally happy with where Mercedes were at. Ferrari come to Belgium a little downbeat following a poor race in the States. The team also appear to be on the back foot now at Spa, with Leclerc expressing the need for some new upgrades as soon as possible. But Belgium has always been good hunting ground for AARAVA over the years, and last season Leclerc was the driver on the top step of the podium, so the Scuderia will be hoping they can get their money's worth out of their drivers come race day. And finally, the bottom half of the field appears to be locked in a tight scrap this weekend. Jaguar, McLaren, Haas, and Alfa Romeo are all eager to try and snap up any leftover points in the top 10, as it seems these days in F1 there's no longer any true long-term backmarker team. It's time now to take a look at how the drivers will be starting for today's Belgian Grand Prix, and it's the same two drivers on the front row as last week, but in opposite positions, as Sergio Perez takes pole position for BMW with Gasly alongside in the Red Bull, and only 16 thousandths between them. Row 2 is all Renaults with Ocon another 17 thousandths adrift of his compatriot, but then a tenth and a half down to Jack Aitken, who is now looking for his first race win, and will start alongside his teammate for once. Carlos Sainz and Antonio Giovinazzi were battling with Aitken all throughout Q3 for 4th position, extremely similar times from all three of them, and on the next row, Valtteri Bottas was just a couple hundredths further adrift, and a full tenth quicker than AARAVA in the leading Ferrari, who was clearly frustrated with another poor showing from Ferrari in quali. Sebastian Vettel once again made it into Q3, and while happy to slot in between the prancing horses, would still prefer to be further up the grid. He'll start alongside Leclerc, just 3.5 tenths off pole on row 5. It's deja vu all over again on row 6 with Van Dorn once again best of the rest and leading Jag-powered car. He'll start next to Verstappen for another race, and the familiar feelings continue on row 7 with an all-McLaren affair, Norris pipping Ricciardo for P13 by just 7 thousandths of a second, and in case things weren't similar enough, we have another all-German 8th row of the grid with Hülkenberg and Schumacher separated by just a few hundredths of a second as well. However, there's a bit of a shakeup at the back as Ilott in the Alpha manages to go a shocking 2 tenths quicker than Wehrlein, who seemed to be struggling as he barely managed to outqualify Kari in P19. However, it is Fuoco who will be bringing up the rear of the grid ahead of the 2022 Belgian Grand Prix.
Hey, what's going on, AARAVA here, and welcome back to my F1 MyDriver career mode, episode number 5 today for Season 8 at the Belgium Grand Prix. If you did miss the last one, the USA Sprint Race, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one, annotation in the top right. Be sure to turn on notifications, guys, if you never want to miss a video, because I feel like last episode maybe had a little bit of a publishing issue, but nevertheless, anyway, if you did miss that one, be sure to check that one out. The very first sprint race in the Formula 1 season, and now we're back to a normal race round then, and looking into this one, should be a good one. Belgium's always a fun race in the MyDriver universe, but here are the standings then going into this one. We do lead the Drivers' Championship, but you can see it is so close between so many different drivers in the top 12, even the entire the entire grid of 20 drivers. It is so tight here, and you can clearly see that by the constructors. You know, you've got a tight fight all the way down to last place for the last points paying positions there. It's going to be a really tight affair all season, I feel, and it's going to be a great one here today at the Belgium Grand Prix. As a team here at Ferrari, me and Leclerc a little bit lower than we maybe want to be, but we're just going to have to make the best of it, and it has been a great race for both of us individually in past seasons of MyDriver. So let's just get into this and see how far we can fight up the order today. As we go to 5 red lights then for round number 5 at the Belgium Grand Prix. 5 red lights are out and we're underway. It's a bit of a shaky start, a lot of wheel spin there. Good one for the Italian Giovinazzi, and the German Vettel on my inside forces me to go to the left and on the outside of Bottas instead. I wanted to try and cut into the inside there, but Vettel was having none of it, and he's having none of it it still as we go towards Rouge, then the hill. Vettel on the right-hand side. Can we keep this on the outside? Up the hill. It's going to be very, very close. We have to tuck in back behind him and try and retake the slipstream. So Vettel with a really good start there, and he was talking about not being too pleased with where the Mercedes is at the moment, but so far, good start for him. Up in the lead, though, I think it's still Sergio Perez from Pierre Gasly then in second place. We're still battling Vettel on the outside. Finally, we should be able to do this. We have the better downforce in the Ferrari v the Mercedes car, and we do get that, and we're back up into P8 then, and we'll chase after and rechase after and try and re-overtake Bottas if we can. Had a look on the outside of turn 1, but ultimately just didn't find the room nor the traction really to get that move done, so we're gonna have to watch out for that. But a replay then on lap 1, a good move here from Antonio Giovinazzi. He was in P5, he's trying to get P4 here around the outside of Ocon. The two Renaults have not had the best start there through the opening corners, and Giovinazzi, I don't think he gets that. No, he doesn't, and he has to stick behind in P5, but he finds himself in a Renault sandwich. Meanwhile now, the top three, Perez, Gasly from Sainz. Sainz looking very, very feisty at the moment. Up the gearbox, up here Gasly, last race, his race winner at the USA sprint race, and Gasly's locked up badly, and Sainz is through, very easily through actually. I thought maybe Gasly would have been able to actually fend off Carlos Sainz, because it wasn't such a bad lockup that he went off circuit, but no, Sainz is up into P2 then, so the Spaniard on a real charge, and I really mean it, because on the same lap, into Sector 3 then, he's ploughing after Sergio Perez there. You can see he's left Gasly for dust there in the distance, and it's all Perez v Sainz now for the lead of the Grand Prix, and it looks like he might just have this pulled out to left-hand side, blast past Sergio Perez there, has to go through Blanchimont to make it finish, and he does so, and now that's Carlos Sainz in the lead of the Belgium Grand Prix, and it's truly flexed the muscles of that Audi engine, and those small Audi upgrades to try and induce some pace has clearly worked for Carlos Sainz, and now he's leading the Belgian Grand Prix, looking very, very strong out there. Meanwhile, we've got Charles Leclerc now trying to overtake Sebastian Vettel now in the Mercedes car, and Leclerc, my teammate, on the inside here. Will Vettel manage to keep it on the outside of Blanchimont? He does, and he's able to defend. Meanwhile, we cut back to our POV straight away, and we're right up the back of Valtteri Bottas, who then comes in straight into the pit. So this is lap 4 already, so we cut a few laps later after Carlos Sainz made that pass for the lead, and that was when Leclerc tried to make the move. He hasn't done so, because you can clearly see on the top left Vettel is still the one right behind me, so he's hoping Charles can make that move sooner rather than later. But now I'm thinking maybe Bottas is coming quite early, and we'll have to see how the undercut works out for him. But meanwhile, we're not going to think about that right now. We're just thinking about the car ahead of us, which is our fellow Brit, Jack Aitken, in the second Renault, just further down the road from Esteban Ocon. We're going to make a move to the inside there. Got this slipstream, obviously no DRS down this back straight, or back kinks, I guess you could say, at Belgium, but the slipstream is so good around here in Belgium that we're able to make that work. But we're going to come straight in then and follow Esteban Ocon and also Giovinazzi into the pits then. So it looked like Aitken kind of half re-overtook us, but it was only because I was slowing down quite a lot there to make sure I didn't blast it into the pit wall, because with the V10 cars, that pit lane entry, I can tell you, is a very tricky one now compared to the old V6 or V8 cars we had earlier on in earlier MyDriver seasons. But we're now into the pit lane, we're out again, and I can actually reveal that Bottas has made the undercut work. Not only has he stayed ahead of me, but he's also jumped the man ahead of me, Jack Aitken, as well as I think the Red Bull of Antonio Giovinazzi, because he's nowhere near to be seen to us. We're P19, Vettel's the last man on the actual road, so he's the only place he could be is ahead of those cars, and he is indeed ahead of those cars. So the undercut has worked very, very well here around Spa. So something to think about maybe for our second stop, because we went ultra soft, we're now on super soft, and we're going to another set of these red wall tyres to get to the end of the Grand Prix on this quite aggressive 2-stop, but the tyre wear does warrant it, and clearly by Bottas's pace with the fresh tyres, it warrants also, you know, making a bit more of an aggressive stop. But meanwhile, we've got more things to worry about, because Aitken is now right up our chuff. He's on ultra soft tyres. He's going even more aggressive than I have gone, and he is right up my rear end. But we've got yellow flags in the Haas of Hulkenberg, I think, going very, very slowly. We just about managed to navigate that, almost because the grey nature of the car kind of blends it into the circuit. So he just managed to avoid that, actually. And now there's no more yellow flags, so Aitken's still attacking us here. He's got all the right to now, because there was yellow flags before through Blanchimont, but now not anymore. And he's got us around the outside. We're going to try and fight him back. A little bit of contact made. And as we go towards Rouge, he's just about got that. We slot back in, and we're going to have to be a bit patient here and wait for the DRS, hopefully, to pop open for us down the Kemmel straight. Here we go on the left-hand side. Aitken goes on the right, and he's going to squeeze us quite hard on the left. But here we go, gaining the speed and we're just about going to get ahead of him. You can see on the right-hand side, we pull ahead of his car, under braking. He does quite well, but in the initial second phase then of the next corner, we get it, and we pull on the power, and we're back ahead of Aiken, and that's a good defensive drive there. Just like USA, some good defending has had to be done so far in this Grand Prix. But now taking a look at a replay then of this incident with the Haas. So Hulkenberg, I think this is, slows right down, holds up that Mercedes car and a lot of cars. He's got a puncher that is on the front right car, and oh, there's some contact there, and I think that might be one of the BMW cars. It's Sergio Perez. I can't believe it. Sergio Perez, for what is seemingly like the billionth time this season, gets unlucky. He comes straight into the pit lane for an extra pit stop. He's already made one. He was in second place behind Carlos Sainz, ahead of Pierre Gasly on the road just there, had already made his first pit stop. Now he has to make an extra second pit stop already onto ultra soft tyres, which means guaranteed he's going to have to make a third pit stop now, because he won't get to the end of the Grand Prix on those ultras. In stark contrast though, his teammate Bottas is still going well, fighting hard with Esteban Ocon and actually trying to overtake Antonio Giovinazzi there, and he's done it. Bottas is ahead of the Italian in the Red Bull, so at least something's going right for BMW then, and Bottas is now the only one flying the flag. So how it stands on track at the moment is all the top 10 made their first pit stops. You then got these four, Van Dorn, Verstappen, followed by the two McLarens, yet to make their first stop. They started on super soft tyres, so Verstappen in second, chasing Van Dorn for the effective race lead at the moment, and then the two Papaya McLarens close behind. We've got yellow flags there for a second. Hey, it's for Max Verstappen. Verstappen's pulling over, and he's going to retire, it looks like, at the top of the hill. The Dutchman is out of the Belgium Grand Prix in a weekend where he came in already frustrated with the team. So many storylines about Verstappen via Audi, and not great camp for them, and that's going to make matters worse, surely. He's out with a mechanical failure. Moving back to our POV though, let's cut back onto our action. We're down the inside of Giovinazzi, trying to fight the Italian on the outside there. Super soft, these soft tyres, but he's done really well to defend there, and we'll have to stick behind, but we're in a gaggle of cars being held up by slower guys yet to make their pit stops there, like I mentioned with the two McLarens, and now we've got more yellow flags, and another retirement. Esteban Ocon, that is, the Frenchman, the Renault. So two retirements in the span of one lap. It's absolute chaos and a bloodbath here at the Belgium Grand Prix. Spa is killing these cars. Van Dorn's in, Norris is in. Ricciardo will continue on super softs. So Ricciardo's, I think, the only one, because Schumacher's in as well. So I think Ricciardo's the only man staying out potentially on his first set of tyres that he started the Grand Prix with, because everyone else is in. So at the moment, along with Callum Ilott here, I think in the Alfa Romeo as well. So there is the actual effective race leader right behind him though, Carlos Sainz. He is still technically leading the Grand Prix once everyone makes their pit stop. But we've got a virtual safety car out then, and that virtual safety car, look at that, has helped out Stoffel Van Dorn indefinitely. Van Dorn was nowhere near the top 10, and now he's made the pit stop and has creeped out ahead of not only me, but also Giovinazzi and Aiken behind me. So Van Dorn with an effective almost half free pit stop. Obviously, a full safety car gives you a free pit stop, but the virtual safety car, like we've seen in real life, does benefit you quite a bit though. So Van Dorn, from the lead of the Grand Prix, is now finding himself in what is P8. So he's gained so much there, and you got to feel for Verstappen, because he would have gained the same amount. So even more gutting for the Dutchman maybe, because if he was still in the Grand Prix whilst Ocon retired, that would have been a slam dunk P8 for him, as we've gone down the inside then of Giovinazzi, caught him napping off the restart of the virtual safety car. Very good driving from us, if I do say so myself. And we're up into P8 now, trying to chase after Van Dorn, who is in P7 then, and ahead of him is then the likes of Pierre Gasly and Valtteri Bottas, and now we're trying to feed our way on the outside of our old Jaguar teammate Van Dorn, down the inside in the bus stop chicane, squeeze him out there, but poor traction, open the DRS, but it was such poor traction that Van Dorn still chasing me, and also Giovinazzi. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 1, Jaguar, Ferrari, Red Bull, all in that order. Van Dorn on the inside, Gio on the outside. He takes off track a little bit to make the move stick, and so that's a little bit questionable, but he's made it work, and now I've also got Aiken trying to attack me, and he's there on the right. I have to lift off to give him the room, otherwise that's going to be a horrendous crash, and we just about make that and keep ahead of the Renault, and now we're going to try and re-overtake the Italian in the Red Bull with DRS wide open. We make that pass, and can we now chase back after Van Dorn after having made the pass in a split second? He's got it back. And so we're still in P5 now, so we climbed up a little bit because a few other people have made their pit stops. But at the moment, in the lead of this Grand Prix then is Carlos Sainz in the Audi on soft tyres. He might be going to the end of this Grand Prix. Then is Valtteri Bottas on super softs, as well as Gasly on super softs. So those two are definitely making a two-stop along with me. But Van Dorn with Sainz on soft tyres, he might be going to the end as well. So it looks like it's a 2v1 stop. And the thing is, I'm definitely on the back foot here because Gasly and Bottas are in clean air, so they can maybe make this work and find the time on the super softs. And Gasly has actually made the move on Bottas for P2 in the Grand Prix. Bottas did a great job to be ahead of the Red Bull guy, and now he's finding himself behind, back down to P3. We're down the inside then of Van Dorn, and it's a bad lock-up, and now we're going to make this work. We're going to have to try this switchback move because Van Dorn has parked it on the apex there, and this is becoming a real bad tussle for me because I'm losing time hand over fist. I need to be right up Gasly's chuff to make this strategy work with him, essentially, and because both of us are going to make the two-stop. Also, I need to be there with Bottas because Bottas is doing the same thing. So at the moment, I'm not, and look at that, Van Dorn is now gone and overtaken Bottas. Bottas slows down at the top of the hill. Has he got an issue? Bottas going quite slowly. We open DRS, we pass Bottas, we're up into P4, but Van Dorn, a fantastic drive from Stoffel at the moment there. He's up into P3, but not for long as we're down the inside now. We'll try and find the grip on the outside. We do so. We swing round on the outside, and we're up into P3 now, and we can chase after that man, P2, Pierre Gasly, one of my main title rivals in the championship, and indeed my entire career really in MyDriver. But at the moment, it's Sainz from Gasly, myself, Van Dorn. But Bottas behind Van Dorn is going very slowly now, and I think he might have an issue. Giovinazzi down the inside, and is this going from bad to worse to even worse for BMW? They cannot catch a break in Formula 1. You know, it's a tough old sport, but they are truly, as Christian Horner said in the practice portion, being given a trial by fire basically in Formula 1, because Perez is already way down in last place with front wing damage, and Bottas seemingly has some sort of issue because he's holding up that entire train of cars then. So we move on to lap 14. Nothing much has happened up until lap 14 then. Gasly had already come in for his pit stop, so he's got a one lap undercut on us. We've come in now on lap 14 for our last pit stop of the night on super soft tyres. So both me and Gasly are on super soft to the end. Leclerc's also into the background there, so it's a double stack for Ferrari. Although, to be fair to my team, I think they've timed that quite well. Yeah, they have. Very good timing there for the double stack, so fair play. But me and Gasly now have all the work to do because both of us are going to be at the tail end of the points. I'm in P11, Gasly's further ahead in P10, I think, or P9, just ahead of Pascal Wehrlein there, and this man is still leading the way and still miles ahead of all of us on soft tyres. Van Dorn in P2 on soft tyres, Giovinazzi now in P3 on softs, and then you've got Lando Norris in P4 on softs, and then followed by Mick Schumacher. So you've got a lot of guys trying audacious strategies of one stops versus our two stop here. So I need to make this move on Wehrlein, and then I need to get up to that man next on the track, which is Gasly. He finds himself behind some traffic as well. So both of us trying to pass some slower cars down the inside. Ooh, very, very close on my old Mercedes and Haas teammate Wehrlein there. But yeah, me and Gasly, I'm not going to lie, it looks like by the gaps we've got on track, we've got a lot of work to do and a lot of work cut out, although we have a bit of an easier time now with one less car to overtake. Van Dorn out of the Grand Prix with an engine blow-up and a retirement there. What a shame for the Belgian man. That's going to call out the full safety car. Big, big shame for Van Dorn, though, because he was in P2 legitimately, and all he had to do was defend, and he might have got P2 at the end of this Grand Prix, but the full safety car is now out, and we're now on the last lap of that safety car, so it's coming in this lap, and you can see here, Gasly P8, I am P9, and we have only got, what's that, like 4 laps left of the Grand Prix left. This Grand Prix has flown by, and everyone ahead of me and Gasly are on soft tyres, trying a one-stop to the end of this Grand Prix. And this safety car is helping them and will allow them to make that one-stop work. So as we go green here in Belgium, me and Pierre Gasly have everything to do to try and make back the positions we've effectively lost with not only the virtual safety car, but also the full safety car. Then both of those calls and those effective yellow periods of the racing have not helped the two-stop out. It's helped all these one-stoppers out. So we're both in the same boat. We just have to make the best of it. And really, honestly, I just need to try and beat what's ahead of me, which is Pierre Gasly. So let's try and beat him if we can. He's got a very strong Red Bull, and we definitely are on the back foot with the Ferrari, but I'm sniffing blood. You can see I'm really wringing the neck out of the car. I'm trying to push flat out. I've gone opposite lock twice there in a row, trying to push this car to the limits, but I want this position. If we're going to be down here, I may as well at least beat my rival. So here we go on the outside of Gasly on the left-hand side, where Gasly defends well. On the right, though, we're going to be on the off-camber corner, and we're on the curb there. Lift off a little to give him the room, because I can't be banging into his side pod there. And now trying to find the room on the outside. We're extending the track a little, but it's all good and fair. But Gasly has got a great bit of traction there. What on earth is that traction that I got? That was horrendous traction out of that right-hander that I had. I was flat out as well, because you can be in these cars, but we just had no power there. But now we do, through Blanchimont now. On the left-hand side, we've got it on the inside of Blanchimont, and into the braking for the bus stop. We're ahead of Gasly now, up into P8. Can we try and catch the toe of the young Ferrari Junior, Callum Ilott, in the Alfa Romeo to try and get away? We're opening DRS, but look at that. Gasly's got some great pace with that Chevrolet engine, chugging away at the max, and he's going to try and attack us now. We're on the last lap of the Grand Prix here, lap 22, and Gasly's had a monster run through pool on good slipstream. He's on the outside there. He's smashed into our front left, and that centres off a little bit wide, and the car has gone a little bit sideways there, and Gasly's barged his way through back up into P8. So that was a little bit unfair in my opinion, and we're now trying to chase back after him. But you can see the car is unsettled now in the dirty air. We're flat out though now through this entire section, and we just have to hope and pray we get enough slipstream like we previously did to maybe make another move into the bus stop. Here we go through Blanchimont, right up his gearbox again on the outside, but this time I'm going to go to the inside instead, because Gasly is clearly going to cut me off on the outside there. We're there banging tyres on the outside through the last corner on the last lap of the Grand Prix to the line. It will be a photo finish, and Gasly will just get P8 at the Belgium Grand Prix. The closest of margins here. I tried to go to the left, but Gasly there parked his car quite well, and I had to go to the inside. We now try on the outside. I tried to squeeze him as hard as I could, and then on the traction, he ultimately just had enough there, and across the line, so close. But he gets it ultimately for P8, and I come home in P9. But this is the main man in the Belgium Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz gets his first win of this season, and Audi's first win of this season. And albeit his teammate out of the Grand Prix, Audi finally on top in 2022. And is this the start of them coming good, or at least Carlos Sainz? Because there definitely is going to be maybe some stern words from Verstappen's camp, because Sainz is out there winning the Grand Prix and Verstappen's out there retiring. But well done to Carlos Sainz, and to be fair, well done to the entire top 7. Every single one of them doing a one-stop has done amazingly. I will though say, I think, in my opinion at least, and I think, if Gasly could say something, he would say the same thing. They've gone very lucky with a virtual safety car and a safety car. If it weren't for that, I feel like me and Gasly, and even also down the order Aiken there in P13, would not have been held up, and we would have had the pace in free air to make the two-stop work, because the two-stop was the fastest strategy last year in 2021. Obviously the cars have changed, but still I maintain that. But they've done really well. Giovinazzi, great second place. Norris, third place. Amazing for the youngster in the McLaren. Remember last season, he was literally nowhere. Every single race struggling in that McLaren, and now he's a podium sitter in the McLaren. Schumacher gets P4 in the Mercedes. Great job. Double points pay positions for the Alfa Romeo team as well. Alfa Romeo flying here. They really have had rapid improvement since the beginning of the season, like they said they would, due to the Ferrari backing. So in the championship then, it swings it quite dramatically now, because Carlos Sainz now is the one that leads the Drivers' Championship by 7 points to Antonio Giovinazzi in second, who is a further 2 points ahead of myself. I am now only 1 point ahead of Gasly, who is in turn 3 points ahead of Esteban Ocon. Then Leclerc, then a big gap from Ocon to Leclerc. He had a no-point scoring position here. It was a really tough race for him, and he was already saying before the race started that we needed upgrades as a team Ferrari, and I think I agree with him, because this race, barring the strategy, the strategy luck in with the other guys, it was very clear versus the Red Bull guys. We just didn't have that raw pace and traction off the corners to face the Red Bull Chevrolets, and especially, we didn't even have a chance of fighting the Audi or the BMWs when they were working correctly. But Ricciardo P7, Hulkenberg still maintaining P8, fair play. But Valtteri Bottas, I'm surprised he's still there in the top 12 with 22 points. But if we go to the constructors, it paints a very different story now. Audi very much catching up now and getting back to the top flight in Formula 1 after a few little reliability blunders at the very start of the season with Carlos Sainz, and they're right behind Renault now in the constructors. Haas still doing a great job, but they're only 1 point ahead of McLaren, so McLaren now finally getting under and getting some momentum in the season. And you got to say their engine supplier Jaguar, the Jaguar Works team, along with BMW, I think those teams are pretty much in crisis at the moment. Jaguar should be right there with McLaren in P5 and P6, but they're not, and the same can be said for BMW. Based off their one-lap pace and their raw pace in pre-season, they should be right up there with Audi and Renault and us and Red Bull, and yet they're second last place. There's going to be some big questions to be answered for the next race of the Canadian Grand Prix, because Mercedes are now are going from strength to strength and are slowly improving, and they're up into P8 with 39 points, not too far off Alfa Romeo, who are doing a fantastic job in P7. So yeah, a lot of conclusions and unanswered questions to be answered the next episode then after the Belgian Grand Prix. So guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you aren't around here, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been Abba, enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you guys next time.